What is up guys, it is Lily and today we are going to talk about my hands-on experience with PES 2017. First of all, anything you see on screen right now is all PES 16 because Konami wouldn't let us take any gameplay or even any screenshots with PES 2017 because they said that E3 is right around the corner. It's like a week or two away, and that they are going to have a version or a build where it's got improved visuals, so they want to show the game at its visual best when they get to show it for the first time around the world. So I can understand why Konami have made that decision, but I can also understand why you guys will get frustrated. So that's just to save a bunch of guys, asking me why there's nothing out there right now. And please just don't get angry at me, I'm only doing the best I can. So first of all, I'm just going to let you guys know this isn't the first time that I've been to one of these events. It's so easy to get swept up in the atmosphere, the opportunity to be there and just almost turn a blind eye to some of the negative things that you might see in the game. To be honest, my expectations got played down a bit just before I got to play my first game, because I read a few reviews from people who had played the game when they were in Milan, and they were saying yes, it's a good game, but has it really moved forward a lot from PES 16? So first of all, let's start off with what was my biggest gripe in PES 16, and that was the passing. So the first match I played was against Bardinsky. He was Arsenal, I was Atletico Madrid. I took kickoff and the first pass I played was out wide to the left, played it straight to his feet, a lot of power, reached him fine. He took a good first touch, turn around, I thought okay, this passing might be like PES 16, so I lowered the power, and next thing you know, the ball has just about made it to the centre midfielder as I passed it back to him, and by doing a weak pass, his midfielder closed the gap. He didn't put on real pressure, but I realised that, look, if I don't put enough power in my passes, I'm going to let players get pressured way too easily. So within 3 or 4 passes, I was starting to put the right amount of power in there and starting to reach my players a bit more comfortably. I quickly realised it did matter who you play the passes with as well. In PES 16, it didn't feel like that. It felt like everyone could play the perfect pass all the time. In PES 17, if I had the ball with Koke and I played a pass to my right midfielder with half a power bar, he would a lot of the time hit it with the correct weight of pass. So that doesn't mean it's going to be a fierce pass or anything. It just was a good weighted pass for the guy to run onto it or take a good first touch. If I did the same thing with Godin in the same position that I was with the Koke, that is just half a power bar, then it might not reach him as quick because his passing speed or passing accuracy isn't going to be as good as Koke's. So if I wanted it to reach that same speed or same weighted pass, that I might have to put in more power, but then Koke again might not have the best passing stats, so putting in more power will obviously decrease the accuracy of that pass. So it actually does matter who you play them passes with. Me and Bardinsky quickly realised that through balls over the top, unless it's genuinely on and you actually time it right and you've got a good passer of the ball, you're not going to be so quick to play that through ball over the top, because a lot of the time the defenders were just so aware to them and they weren't pinpoint accurate, so it might bounce and get over, take a couple bounces, and it gives the chance for the defender to also catch up. So through balls over the top are not OP at this current moment. In PES 2017, the passing alone almost makes you play this game at a realistic pace. In PES 2016, it's like watching a marble in a pinball machine. There's no real thought process. The game is played at such a fast pace that it feels like the defenders can't keep up with it. In PES 2017, the game is played at a more realistic pace in terms of just the flow of the game, that the defenders can keep up with the game and the AI can keep up with it quite easily, so you don't see a lot of dumb defending. I don't actually think I really can pinpoint a moment where I thought the defending was dumb, so that's good that the game can the defenders can keep up with the actual what's going on with the ball, which makes defending and the whole a lot better. So because of the pace of the game has been brought down and passing is that bit harder, it makes defending these passes a lot easier as well, and it makes creating chances a lot harder as well. So in a lot of these games, a lot of people were talking about how hard it was, especially right at the start of the day, how hard it was to create chances, and in doing all this, it makes goal scoring feel a lot more rewarding as well. So while we're talking about the satisfaction of scoring, let's move on to the shooting. In PES 16 and PES 17, I feel like the ball still moves too quick, like in terms of the pace of the game. In PES 16, even though that game was pretty quick, I still felt the shooting still moved too quick for that game. This game has been slowed down and I still think the shooting is too quick. I'm not saying that the goalkeepers aren't well prepared to save the shots. They are. They're definitely better definitely better equipped to save finesse shots than they were in PES 16. And finesse shots in PES 17 have been toned down, so not every finesse shot that you take is going to be perfect. Not every single one of them will hit the back of the net or even hit the target, and you have to have a bit more of a thoughtful process for a finesse shot. In PES 16, it was just get that yard of space, whether you're 25 yards, 35 yards, hit a finesse shot, 9 times out of 10 it is going in. Here, you wouldn't even really attempt a finesse shot like really too far outside the box, because the goalkeeper deals with them quite easily, so far from the current build I'm playing on. So the overall feeling of shooting for me now is that if it doesn't make sense to take a shot there, you wouldn't do it. You just feel like it's not right. You know you're going to miss the target, or it's going to be an easy save for the keeper, where in PES 16 you just knew that it was always going to end up at least hitting the target, if not 9 times out of 10. The way, especially with finesse shots, it would always end up in the back of the net, no matter where the angle was. If it seemed impossible, it somehow still found the back of the net. Now you're going to think a bit more like, if I go for a finesse shot from here, it's going to be way too easy for the keeper, or I might not even hit the target at all. So you might look to, keep the ball in play and look for a better angle for the next shot. So now we're going to move on to the first touch and the dribbling. And like I said with the passing, there's a lot more weight behind it. There's a greater sense of feel behind it. Things make a lot more sense. And not that they only make sense, they actually look a lot more natural. So say I had my back to goal, I want to turn left, but my body's going to the right. It's perfect in the sense that it's not going to be the best first touch, and you can actually see it. It might not be the best option, where before in PES 16 it didn't almost matter which direction you went and chose to shoot off in, because the ball would almost go into the player's feet like a magnet. Now if you're doing it in an awkward body position, you'll see that the first touch isn't going to be the best, but it also makes sense in the way he takes the touch. Always makes sense because everything feels more natural. As a defender, if you can anticipate which direction that guy's going to go in, you can put in a tackle slightly early with the standing tackle, and if you've got a good defender, he will be able to pinch it off him. Because everything looks so natural, you can actually read it a lot easier, where before you're thinking he's going to go in that direction, but then suddenly he does an unnatural turn or an unnatural movement and your defender gets shafted by it. But now you have a lot more confidence in defending because of that as well. The first touches aren't always perfect, so it actually does matter on the quality of the pass you're receiving. If you're sprinting to the ball, if you're walking to it, if you're standing still, if you've got a defender on your back, things like that, it all actually does make a big difference on the first touch, which would then obviously think, is it worth taking the first touch, or do I just get it out of my feet, clear the danger, or play a killer pass? A lot of that stuff does matter, and playing a killer pass on your first touch isn't easy as well anymore. The fact that playing killer passes on your first touch isn't easy anymore is another big reason why this game is almost played, or forcing you to play at a realistic pace. Dribbling now also feels like there's a bigger gap between your average dribbler or your poor dribbler compared to a good dribbler and your excellent ones. I don't think we had any real excellent players with the ball at their feet in terms of dribbling. I think the best player probably might have been Alexis Sanchez, and he was a real joy to dribble with. But I think there might be another step up from him to players like Messi, Ronaldo, Ribery, Robben. So if there's another level, then it would be great, because it does look like that there are bigger gaps between a poor dribbler and a good dribbler, and maybe a good dribbler to an excellent dribbler. Obviously it's hard without them other players. We only had 4 teams available: France, Germany, Arsenal, who are now a licensed team, and Atletico Madrid. I'm going to move into my last bit of gameplay before I go on to the cameras, the replays and things like that. So let's go on to the goalkeeping and the defensive AI. So starting off with the defensive AI, like I said before, the game is now played at a lot more of a realistic pace, a lot slower. I think that gives the defenders a real chance to actually keep up with what's going on in the attacking side of the game. So I've not noticed any real flaws in terms of defense. I've not noticed any real flaws in the terms of the defensive side of the game. I think tackling, I feel a lot more confident in it because of the collision system, and the fact that the tackles now with the new animations and things like that make a lot more sense. They have a bit more sense in terms of when you put a slide tackle in, they don't just put in a random slide tackle, they always put in a slide tackle which is directed at the ball, depending how good that defender is anyway. So time to move on to the goalkeepers, and this is where I started to get a little bit worried. On the whole, they are pretty great. They make fantastic saves that you don't expect them to make. Double saves, triple saves. Their judgments are pretty good. They don't come out leaving you exposed and just easily getting rounded, or leave themselves to get lobbed easily. On the corners, they generally only come out when they pretty much get the ball. The only real worry I had with them was certain shots that were, when you see them make these fantastic saves, certain shots that you thought that's easily savable for this sort of keeper, or just easily savable for any goalkeeper. So shots that were close to their body, not the hardest hit shots or anything like that, and you thought, well, he's made a bit of a meal of that one and it's kind of led to a goal, or sometimes it just goes straight in and you're thinking, well, I've just seen you make some incredible saves, and it seems like they don't know how to deal with the shots that are close to their proximity that bit easier. They make a bit of a meal, some not all the time, sometimes, and that's what's a bit frustrating, that you can see them deal with it most of the time, but then once too often you thought, well, you should be dealing with that a lot better, and that's my little worry there. And the only other worry was sometimes headers, they seem to struggle with headers a bit as well. Again, they make some fantastic save of headers, the ones that are flying in the top corners or bottom corners. You think, hey, how on earth did you save that one? But the ones that are really close to your body, you seem to really struggle to deal with them. So I did feed that back onto Konami, and they did say that keepers are still being worked on. But every time I saw a moment with a goalkeeper, because I feel these are really important issues, every single time I saw a little issue with the goalkeeper, I'd call someone from Konami. They would obviously make a note of it, and they are taking this feedback stuff really seriously. So moving on to the cameras and replays. When it came to the cameras, I think we were locked out of them because of the build we had, so we could only play with the default one. I think that's what it was, because I can't remember switching to any of the ones, and I think I tried switching straight away, but I think we were locked out. So with cameras, you know, I didn't really have much choice with what I could do there, but it did look great, and replays in this game look absolutely stunning. I was watching replays that I would never watch before on just little foul things, just because it looked so damn good. It reminded me of actually watching some on TV. Like in PES before, they would go really slow-mo, the angles were like not that good, but right now it looked like the replays had some real life to it, some actual life to it. They just didn't look like dull replays. Now I could go on to formations and tactics, but the build we were playing on, the formations were locked. Tactics we could do, so that wasn't too much of an issue. But I am going to do a video with PES Sep and the Midnight Kid, so I will put that link to that video in the description when it's up, and we will dive into more tactics there. But a briefing on the tactics is, when I asked it to do tiki-taka or like Gengen press, which is like basically a really hard press, that like just think of Jurgen Klopp's pressing style. When I asked it to do that, or hug the touch lines or flood the box, whenever I asked them to do that, it would do it. But it doesn't mean I was choosing to do it at the best times, because I was testing it out here and there. But it was effective in terms of when I selected a tactic, it listened and you could actually see it on the pitch. So in terms of tactics, they are implementing them the way they've implemented them. They've done it spot on so far. It's just about you picking them at the right time to making them as effective as possible. With news regarding my club and other game modes, they were really tight-lipped about it, because they said that E3 was only a week or two away and they wanted to make some big announcements, especially for my club at E3. Now when I spoke to the lads at Konami, they knew I wanted a transfer market or some sort of system where we could get the players who we wanted, and they just said to me, I'm sure you will like the announcements that I've made at E3. So I don't know what that could be, but my 99% of me, the way they said it to me, lads, it felt like we're going to have a bit more control in how we get players now. I'm guessing there's still going to be the ball roll, but I'm sure there's also going to be another way where we may be able to choose some of the players we want. Nothing confirmed. This is just me speculating this last bit here, lads. So lads, to end this video, I'm going to tell you something which I only told close friends, and that was I was going to quit YouTube very soon. And because I just felt like I didn't feel like PES was going in the right direction. It was way too easy to score. I just didn't enjoy it. And after playing this PES 17, lads, that decision is cancelled. I'm not going to quit PES or YouTube altogether, because I was always going to have PES on my channel if I was going to YouTube other games. I was always only going to YouTube other games if PES was my main game. But because PES 17 has, for me, it's reversed my decision to actually quit. I hadn't announced it to you lot anyway, but I did tell close friends that, look, I don't know how much longer that I'm going to YouTube PES. I don't think I'm going to go into PES 17. But after playing it yesterday, definitely going to stick with it. I know online is going to play different, but I just can't see how much different it can be from offline this year, where it's going to put me off, because it's just improved so much, and the style of the game isn't all about goals. It's all about having to work your way there. Before, it was just, even Adam Batty said to me, last PES 16 was made to be easier. That's what he said to me, personally said to me. He goes, we're not going to go down that route anymore. We're going to look to, make it replicate the game we see, where you have to work for everything, and that's what's going to happen now. So lads, that's the end of this video. If you got any questions for me that I haven't got off your mind yet, ask me in the comment section. Also, if PES Sep gets his video up anytime soon about the tactics, look for that in the description. If he hasn't, then ask me questions about that in the comment section as well. I will be back with some PES 16 My Club very soon. Until then guys, peace!